We have Kit Connor on the line. Crowd goes wild. That's amazing. Kit, thanks for making time today. Maya, take it away.
So first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for calling in. I have been so excited to talk with you.
It's my absolute pleasure. Thank you very, very much for having me.
So my first question for you is, when was the moment you first knew you wanted to be an actor?
That's a very good question. I think that it was probably when I did my first film. When I was about 9 years old, I did a film called Get Santa, which was a Christmas film with people like Jim Broadbent as Santa Claus. And I thought that it was a really, really sort of sweet film. But, you know, that time I thought I'd made it. So that was when I think I realized this is something that I could do for a living and maybe do for the rest of my life if I was lucky. Yeah, I think when I was about 9 and I did that first film was probably the first time.
Oh, cool. So when you're auditioning for a role, what is your process to get into character?
That's another good question. I think that for me, I tend to take quite a sort of loose approach to preparing for a role or auditions or actually, you know, doing the job itself. I think that for me, acting is very much a natural process. So I like to definitely make sure that I try and sort of immerse myself in the role and the sort of the world that I'm acting in. But I also don't try to sort of overthink things. So a lot of the time, for example, if I'm learning my lines, I don't want to overlearn them to the point where they seem rehearsed. I like to try and keep them kind of natural and fluid, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So you played a teenage Elton John in Rocket Man. Were you always a fan of Elton John?
I think that for me, Elton John has always been one of those kind of artists who you hear his songs throughout your life, you know, and I think a lot of people will say that there'll be songs that, you know, they just hear over and over and over, and you can almost pinpoint certain Elton John songs to a moment in your life. And a sort of really memorable moment in your life, for example. For me, that was very much my relationship with him. Then when I got the role of young Elton, I created a little playlist on Spotify of just as many Elton John songs as I could think of, and then kept on adding to it. I still add to that playlist, you know, to this day. And I still very much listen to it to this day. And I just, for the whole time that I was doing the job, I just immersed myself. All I listened to was Elton John. So, you know, especially when I was making Rocket Man, I was the biggest Elton John fan.
Oh, cool. So was there a best part of that experience?
I think that experience was overall very, very, you know, I was very lucky to be able to do that film, and it was an incredible experience overall. I'd say that probably one of my favorite things was being able to record the 2 songs that I did for that film. I was able to record them at the iconic recording studio of Abbey Road in London, which is where, you know, iconically sort of the Beatles recorded, and, you know, some incredible talent has recorded in those studios. So it was unbelievable to be able to sing in Abbey Road, because I'm definitely not a singer.
So you play Nick Nelson in Heartstopper, and I love that show, and I am so excited that it's been renewed. What is the biggest challenge to playing Nick?
I think that, firstly, I'm also very excited that we got renewed. I'm very excited to make the next 2 seasons. But I think one of the things that's challenging about Nick, firstly, is that although I think on the outside he's a very sort of, happy, not a simple character, but very sort of, simple in his needs. He doesn't require that much, and he seems quite sort of, certainly on the surface, very easygoing and calm and collected, and that's great. But I do think that he's a lot more layered than he looks on the surface. For example, I think that he's got a lot of complexity in terms of his mind and the way that he thinks and the way that he sort of sees himself in society. I think he sees himself as a bit of an odd one out, which is very, very common and something that I could certainly relate to. But I think, portraying that complexity while also, portraying that surface level of warmth and happiness was difficult. But I think also one of the most difficult things was also just trying to do justice to such a loved character. When we first started making Heartstopper, it was clear how much the Heartstopper fans of the novels, the graphic novels, loved it so much. So, we wanted to make sure that we did it justice.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So, did you have a favorite episode to film?
I would say that, I loved filming pretty much all of Heartstopper. I think it was a really, really lovely set to be on and a lovely project to make. There is an episode, I loved making the final episode, episode 8. I thought that was a really just lovely, heartwarming episode. And, we were able to be outside. It was really, really hot in England, which is quite rare. So it was nice to be outside at that time and soaking up the sunshine. I think probably, let's say episode 8, because, I loved filming all of them, but episode 8 was a very sort of dramatic episode, but also a very heartwarming one. And obviously one of my final scenes in episode 8 is the scene in which my character comes out to his mum, and I was able to film with the amazing Olivia Colman, and that was an absolute honor. So I think probably episode 8. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, there are so many scenes that stick out to me from Heartstopper, but the one is the scene when Nick comes out to his mom. Like that, since I saw it, that scene has stuck with me. I thought it was a beautiful scene.
Thank you so much. I loved making that scene, so I really appreciate that.
Yeah. So the show has a great soundtrack, and I was Shazamming every single song that came on. Sorry, I lost my spot. So, what is your favorite song right now?
Oh, that's a difficult question. I think that aside from obviously the songs in the Heartstopper soundtrack, I'd say I've been listening to a lot of David Bowie recently. I've sort of grown up listening to David Bowie. But yeah, recently I've been listening to a lot of him, and I'd say that probably one of my favorite songs I've been listening to recently of David Bowie is Ashes to Ashes. I've been listening to that song over and over and over. So I'm going to say Ashes to Ashes by David Bowie.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I love David Bowie, so.
Don't we all? I think he's the best. He's amazing.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I've been, lately the song I've had on repeat is a song called Don't You Worry by the singer Mark Amber.
Okay.
I love that song, and also I don't know why, but I've been having like a lot of anxiety lately, and so that song just really helps like kind of calm my brain down. And
well, that's really nice. It's always good when you find a song that's able to sort of calm you down and chill you out. I think that's great.
Yeah. So, do you have any upcoming projects that you can tell us about?
Oh, well, I'm not sure there's anything that I can actually tell you about, because especially with this industry, it's very, very, hushed up and secretive. But I've definitely got some very cool stuff coming soon, and yeah, I'm very excited about the next sort of few years in my career, and hopefully the next few decades, hopefully. But yeah, I've definitely got some cool stuff, but unfortunately, nothing that I can really talk about.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to see what you're working on.
Neither can I, but thank you very much.
Yeah. So, what is your go-to movie or TV show when you really just want to be comforted?
I would say I have probably got a movie and a TV show that I go to. I'd say that my movie would probably be Notting Hill. I love Notting Hill. It's always sort of my go-to film if I need something to just calm me down and make me a bit happier. Yeah, Notting Hill is always a good way to go, I think. But yeah, maybe I think as a TV show, I'd probably have to say, oh God, I don't know. I used to love Friends, but maybe, I don't know, like Modern Family or something like that. I love watching TV shows that are just very light and easy to watch, and you can just throw on in the background. Sometimes those are the kind of, nice ones to calm you down.
Yeah, I agree. And I love Notting Hill. That is such a good movie.
It's so warm and lovely, and I think that's and I love Hugh Grant and Julia Roberts, and yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. So what topic are you completely unqualified to give a TED Talk on, but know so much about that you could give a TED Talk?
That is a very, very good question. I think that I've always, despite the fact that I live in London, and that I am sort of London born and raised, and basketball isn't very big in London, I have always been a very big, well, not always, but I am quite a big NBA fan. So I would say that, especially recently, I've been very busy with work, so I haven't been able to follow this last season quite as closely. But I would probably say that I could maybe give a TED Talk on the NBA if I was given like maybe a few hours to prepare. I think I could. Yeah, maybe.
Oh, cool. So when you're having a bad day, what is something you do to keep yourself motivated?
That's another great question. I would say, first, if I'm having a bad day and sometimes I just want to sort of curl up into a ball and cry or something like that, I think it's nice to curl up into that ball with my dogs. I love my dogs, and I find them a very good way to cope with any kind of stress. They're very comforting and lovely, and I love to just give them big hugs. But I'd say that to motivate me as an actor, and as someone who is very just interested in film and theatre and the arts in general, I would say that something that I find really motivating is just watching good films. I find that sometimes when you watch a good film, it just makes me want to be an actor or a director or something like that, even more than I did before. And I think those are the kind of best films that really make me just keen to go out and do it. I'd say that those are my sort of two big things.
Cool. Usually when I'm having a bad day, I usually like just curling up on the couch with my dog and snuggling with her and just watching like one of my favorite shows or movies.
Exactly. It's a nice combination of the two. I think that's a very natural thing. I think that, dogs are it's one of the things they're best at is comforting you. Yeah.
Yeah. My dog, she's not like an official emotional support dog, but she's like the best emotional support dog because she can always sense when you're like, when you're not feeling good or like you're sad, and she'll just come up and like she'll just climb on the sofa and curl up in your lap. And
of course. And have you got a sort of big dog or a little dog? I think that's a key thing.
Yeah, she's like medium, so she's not too big, but she's definitely not like small.
She's not tiny. Good. I've got two sort of medium-sized dogs, so they add together to make one big dog. I'd say sometimes, when it comes to sort of cuddling on the sofa, they can both just mound on you, which is nice.
My dog loves when you're like curled up under a blanket. She likes getting under the blanket with you. So
that's adorable. That's amazing. I wish that my dogs did that as well. That would be heaven, I think.
So that's just my favorite thing to do, to just snuggle with her.
Very relatable. Very relatable.
Yeah, I mean, dogs are just the best.
They are. I think I'm very much more of a dog person than a cat person. I don't mind cats at all, but dogs are, for me, they really are mankind's best friend.
Yeah. I've met like a couple cats that I like, but overall, like, I'm not a cat person, and my family isn't, so it's always
it's got to be dogs.
Yeah. So my last question for you is, who do you consider to be a real life superhero, and why?
I think that's again, you really give me some great questions here. I would say that I think it's got to be my parents, my mum and my dad. I'd say that they're two really amazing examples for me of people who just sort of work tirelessly and really. I don't know. I think I've obviously grown up with my parents and watched them do just sort of slaving away to look after me and my siblings. And, especially when I was a child actor, I don't know what I would have done without my mum and my dad sort of, answering all my emails from my agent and, taking me to auditions and things like that. I think that was an extremely tiring job, but they did it and they never complained. And I think for that reason, they are superheroes to me.
Oh, cool. My mom and my sister are my best friends and my superheroes.
I think that's how it should be. I think it's always, I'm very, very, very lucky and privileged to have my parents, always there for me and looking after me. And, even as I've gotten a bit older and, I'm sort of technically not a child actor anymore, it's nice that I've always got them there. So I'm very, very lucky in that sense.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you so much for calling in. I've had the best time talking with you. I still can't believe it. I'm actually talking with the Kit Connor, so thank you.
Thank you very, very much. It's been my absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, Kit, if you ever find yourself here in Colorado, in the Denver area, you got an invite to come hang out with us in the Seacrest studio, okay?
Thank you very much. I'm sure I'll take you up on that.
I hope so. Kit, have a great rest of your day.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. You too.
Yeah.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.